Hey, 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 it is Monday, so you know what that means. It is time for MinkLife Motivation Live. My name is Monica Henderson, and I will be your pilot on this flight today. And I'm so excited. Great show for you today, so we're going to go ahead and get it started right now. All right, so welcome to MinkLife Motivation Live. And if you aren't aware of what we do here, we are a personal business brand and network development training system. And we come together each week to help you understand how important it is to get motivated, stay inspired, keep networking, and gain knowledge so that we can live a life designed, so you can live a life designed by you, for you, healthier, wealthier, and more fulfilled. Now, I bet you are ready to get in to this juicy topic that we have today. I am too. And we are going to really be diving in on why choosing a career that suits you best can actually be a form of self-care. It is time to calibrate your life. To help me with this juicy topic, we have our motivators. So we have Andrea Gewirtz, and she is the Wellness Thrive Strategist for WellBeing and Worth, and a MinkLife Motivation trainer. We are missing our Marcia this week, but she is one of our regular co-hosts. But today with us, we do have Peggy Warny, and she is a photographer and owner of Headshots by Peggy, and also a dynamic speaker for the next global virtual conferences. Today, we are having all kinds of fun tech stuff going on. My camera keeps disappearing on me. But no matter what, we are going to keep this party going no matter what. So if you see me disappear and come back, don't worry about it. I'm here in spirit. We'll keep it pushing. So today's guest, I'm so excited to introduce you to. His name is the man with the plan, Sommers, and he is the owner of LogoZone. He's a branding expert and a dynamic speaker at the next global virtual conference. And I am so fortunate to have you on today. I call him my own personal energy producer. He just really comes with the energy. Tommy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Monica, for having me. It's a pleasure to be in a room with you, wherever that's at.
Yeah, in sunny LA. But I wanted to ask you guys, why is choosing a right career an act of self-care? And we'll get this party started with Andrea. Andrea, why is that the case?
There are a lot of reasons why that's the case. First is happy heart, happy soul, happy life, right? Like if you're working and doing something that you would do anyway, like we like to say around Mink Life Ways, if you would do it for free and you want to get, you can also make money at it, that's probably what you're supposed to be doing. So it's an act of self-care because you are living in your highest purpose when you are doing something that you would naturally do because you're bringing value in that way, probably. You know, that most of us, if we like doing something, we attract people that are attracted to us because of it, because we give it so easily and effortlessly. And therefore, you are soothing yourself by embracing something that actually you adore and want to do anyway. What you say?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, super the case. Peggy, as someone who actually is living a living proof that we're doing what you love and as a career can be the most fulfilling. Why is this an act of self-care?
I see, I do headshots for corporate America, and I see people that are stressed out and that are grumpy and that complain and they hate their job. And we spend a minimum of 40 hours a week at our job. But not only do we spend the 40 hours a week at our job, we've got, the travel time, we've got the prep time, we've got all these things. And then all that stuff that you carry home with you, all that stress and anxiety. Now, I don't want to tell you a fairy tale about being, owning your own business and doing what you love. There isn't any stresses or any kind of you know, heavy days. However, at the end of it, you're still doing what you love. And over the years, there's been many a times that I've had to like step back and say, yeah, this is tough today, but bottom line, I'm doing what I love, and I don't have anybody, you know, telling me, you know, that I'm terrible or, you know, whatever. So I feel like that just the stress that you carry when you're in a place that you shouldn't be. Stress is harmful for your body. It's harmful for your soul. It's an actual thing that can cause health issues. And so taking that stress away of being in the wrong place in itself is going to be good for self-care. That was really long. I'm sorry, Monica. It's Monday. I got it. I am full of stuff today.
As usual, Peggy's coming with it. She did say she was a professional talker, so there you go. Tommy, you do something that you absolutely love as a career. So why is this an active self-care?
These two ladies blew that out of the water. That was some great answers. And to top that off, though, let me say, even from an employee standpoint, it's important because of what you said, Peggy and Andrea, the stress levels and being happy with what you do. I'll get into my story later, but even when I was an employee, I wanted to do something that I liked, because I knew I would be happier and they would get more production out of me. And it's like Peggy said, when I looked around and saw people in positions they didn't like, you're not getting the production level, you're not doing yourself a favor. Honestly, in a nice way, go find something else that you actually like to do and do that. If you like answering phones, tell someone you want to answer phones. If you don't ever want to talk to people, say, don't put me in front of people. I don't want to talk to them. Put me behind a computer. But if you do that, you're helping yourself as well. You're really helping yourself. And then if you have a passion, whatever it is, follow it. And there's nothing like it. You can't put it into words, honestly. And when you follow something that you love, you don't consider it work. I had somebody say, oh, yes, it's work. No, it's not. It's work to you, but it's not work. I do something I love now every single day. And when people ask me, when do I work? I say, I don't have hours I work. I have hours I service my clients. I'm available, but I don't work because it's not work to me. So find something you love to do, whatever it is, even if you're employed, be the best at it, because you never know who's watching, and it'll help you out with your health and in the long run. That's what I would say.
That's you know, you hold your own right here in this posse, sir. You're doing great. So I wanted to kind of piggyback on what you said about like, so there is a saying that like, do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life, and that's very real. And there was something that you guys also said, I can't even remember who said it at this point, because you guys were all like blah, 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 with all the information, but I always think, of course, this would be the time when my camera decides to disappear. I always think that the world would be a better place if everybody was doing the job that was best suited for them. If you think about how disgruntled people are when they leave a job that they don't like, and then they get in their car and they're driving down the street and someone gets over in front of them and then they're cussing them out and they're making that person then like, you know, angry and upset. Or if they go to the grocery store after work after they've had a long grueling day and they're kind of snippy at the cashier, and then she goes home to her house because she's had a really crappy day. So I always try to say, imagine if everybody was doing something that was uniquely suited to their natural skills, talents, and passions, right? And they get to show up every day, be 100% themselves, get paid to be that. Wouldn't the world be a better place? And that is really kind of what you guys were all talking about, right? The whole thing is, we've all been told when we were in high school to go get a job that makes good money. And most of us here realize now, later in life, that the money means nothing if you are not happy with what you are doing, because you could be very happy doing what you're doing and then and just make enough to cover your bills, but at least you played all day, right? You were out having fun with your friends. Oh my gosh. And so I don't know what is happening in the tech space, but all day today I've been having tech issues. And I've not been the only one. But I say all of that to say that when you're choosing your career, right, and you're thinking about even the jobs that you're doing, like Tommy was saying, if you're not able to show up and be who you are in your authentic self, then you might want to be rethinking that career, because like Peggy and Andrea said, spending time in who you really are all day really does affect your health and your well-being and your worth to the rest of the world, including your family. And so I love the topic of career because people, I think there's been a misinterpretation of what people should go into as their careers. Would you guys say that that's kind of the case too? Did any of you guys get some really bad career advice when you were younger and someone kind of steered you in a direction that was different than where you should have been?
Bad career advice, I wouldn't necessarily say it was bad. I mean, I know that as I began my journey to all the different things that I've done, and I remember both my parents were mathematicians, so dinner was always exciting. And no, a mathematician and a statistician. Hello, like really?
Love it.
Yeah, you're like, so, it was presumed I would be in the sciences and would do well in them, and that was just the way one was successful. As I look back, and I wanted to be a musician. That was hilarious. I mean, to them, they were like, real people don't do that. That doesn't make any money. And there was that,
Yeah.
exactly like you said, that conversation. That doesn't make any money. How do you support yourself? And the flippant, cheeky kid that I was like, I'm going to be a sound engineer, because it had engineer in it. It had sound in it. I didn't know what it was. My brother was like laughing under the table going, you are such a BSer. I have never seen anything like this in my entire life. He's like, you are in so much trouble. That doesn't even exist. And I was like, it will be by the time I apply to college. That was all there was to it. I wanted to go to school for music. I was going to figure it out. And sure enough, there was. And that's what I did. I mean, I'm glad I had the skill. It led me to a beautiful life. I made it up, I thought. It wasn't really that common a thing to find. I had to do my college searches based on that, so my parents wouldn't really know what I wanted to do, like that kind of thing. And it worked out in the long run, right? And so, but I took a chance even then. I was like, nope, it's going to be something I really want to do, to your point. And ever since then, that kind of like, well, what do I like to do? What am I good at? Has informed. So for sure, we all have it in us, whether or not we buck the convention of a family. Our families, by and large, I know mine, were very much academics. No one's an entrepreneur. I'm the freak in the family, right? Like, they're like, you want to do what? You need what? And so, if you're an outlier, surround yourself with people who are just like you, and somehow it'll all work out. Let's just
That's
say,
crazy. We'll take you.
right? Welcome to MinkLife. Now, come on over. We got a place at our table for you. But for sure, I mean, that is what we celebrate, is you living in that very vibrant space, where Tommy's point is, even when I was I never felt like work. When I was on location or recording music or sitting in a studio for hours trying to get that perfect thing, it never felt like work. It was everybody else going, aren't you tired? No, not yet. No, not yet. And then when it was time to do something different, everything conspired to tell me it was time to do something different. So
Mm.
absolutely, life circumstances, wanted to be a mom, like, pick. Okay, over here. You always get to go back or around.
Love that.
So
Peggy, did you want to chime in?
I didn't have that experience. Both of my parents were entrepreneurs. My dad, made a huge business doing what he loved and what he was good at. I think I didn't get really bad advice. The only bad advice I got was that I was raised in the Midwest in the 70s and 80s. So it was like, well, we really don't care what you do, just marry a rich guy. Like, that was the mindset of my family, more so than trying to expect me to if anything, I think I might have done more than they expected of me. So I didn't have that, but yeah. But the one advice that this is kind of on topic, and so I'm going to throw it out there. It's not the question you asked, but I think you should hear this. My dad told me early on, he's like, find out what part of your job that nobody else likes to do and be the best at that. And that has carried me through 32 years of owning my own business. You know, I used to do portraits and families and events, and I specialized in twins, triplets, big groups, and mentally and physically handicapped. That was because nobody else wanted to do that. And I would have other big name photographers sending me clients because they didn't want to mess with it. And I was really good at it. So, you know, that's
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That, because that totally
still
goes
doing what
to
I love.
what problem do you solve? You hear me say it all the time. What problem are you solving? What do you fix?
Yep.
That is great. That's great advice. But you ladies got it on me because I don't want to date myself. But my parents are in the working world, and I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. I didn't even learn what an entrepreneur was until I was in my 20s. So I was way behind. My dad worked 2 jobs. My mom worked full time, would come home and make dinner, you know, for us 4 kids. So, you know, family of 6. And all I knew how to do was work. And then I had 3 older siblings. So my brother went in the service. My sister went in the service. And my other sister went to a trade school. And I'm like, do I want to go into service? Do I want to go to trade school? What's this college thing? And next thing you know, I'm in the work world. So luckily, I found out what an entrepreneur was. But yeah, that's kind of how but we'll get into all that later. So yeah, that's my story behind that.
Well, fun you say about your story, because I do want everyone to get used to, get into my next favorite segment of the next segment of this, which is the entrepreneur's journey. And we do this, we will do this in a second, but I want to ask the other question of how can you make moves to win in the career game? Specifically, what can people do to actually get into a career that would really suit them? Jeez Louise.
The way I read that question is it being asked from the point of view you're in a career and you want to change, or how to make moves to advance in the career you're in? Or I mean, because I want to answer it. I think I can do a both and. If
Let's do a both and.
Yeah. The one, to Tommy's point, if you're in a job and you like it okay, and you're okay at it, what can you be brilliant at in that job? I love what you said, Tommy, about being the best in that job, even if you kind of don't like it. There were times in being an audio engineer that there were detestable things, like the grunt work of it sometimes, and the long hours or things like that. And there was always me at that moment, making a decision really consciously, like, well, I'm still going to be the best at it. I don't care if I don't like it. I don't care if I'm going to get electrocuted on 4th of July at the mall, putting cable under a truck. And I was the youngest one, so they sent me. And I was like, dang it, I'm still going to do it better than any of these other dudes out here, because I had the whole chip on my shoulder about being the only girl. So I had to, like, be brave all the time when I wasn't. Oh my goodness. I'll never forget that. Lightning cables under. Okay. But the thing was, it was always like, how could I be the best at it? Because I insisted that for myself. So making any move for a career gain or transitioning to something else, you just heard all 4 of us say basically, I solved a problem, like she did twins, triplets, multiples, and big groups. And that's brilliant because, right, people didn't want to do it. And Peggy's brilliant because she just does headshots that tell pictures in a picture. Like, that's a brilliance in and of itself, right? So she carved it out. She visualized. She saw. And so for you, if you're transitioning, you want to be an entrepreneur, you're going there, what do you do better than somebody else? And that you do joyfully. You would do anyway, Monica will always talk about she's like, Andrea's going to come help me with MinkLife. Because she's like, she can train. I was like, I'm not a trainer. She's like, shut up. Then I realized one day, yeah, I am. Like, it was like, right. Okay, I get it. Like, knowing to knowing. What's a trainer do? Not knowing to knowing. Duh. So, so that is just definitely embracing that. And then I always say, stay curious about what problem can you solve. I actually, it's funny about my family and the academics, and one kid might go academic, and I got one who's like, she came out of the womb making stuff, so she's an entrepreneur. And she's always looking for, what can I make next? How can I monetize it? I'm like, that was inside of me. It just had to come out. I had to meet her to know that I was capable of producing a child who thought like this, not the intellectual, go to school, get a PhD, whatever. So it's hilarious because she's just like, well, I'm going to make these. And how many weeks do I need till it's Christmas? And, she got an idea yesterday from Monica. She's like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, and off she went to a little workshop. So that's just naturally staying curious. What can I do to show up and help another and be more brilliant? That's how you win at any career game. That's how you win at life. But really, when it comes to picking a gig,
I would agree with all of that. And I would say I've always been an entrepreneur because I had even when I had a W-2 job, they were my clients. So I never showed up to a job like they owed me anything. I was always in it to prove to them that the advice that my mom gave me was go in and make yourself undeniably, I don't know why every time I talk it decides to stop, but so go in and absolutely make it so that they can't live without you in that position, right? So if you go in and you make it 1,000 times better than what you came in for, right? Like you might have just been, you might have been like, oh, we want you to be a cashier, right? When you show up and you're a cashier, but you're the best dang cashier, everybody who works on the team for go backs and bagging and all that stuff come to you for advice and what to do here, there, and there. And, where do I do this? Where do I do that? And the customers will stand in a longer line just to be served by you. You've made yourself irresistible, right? So, and irreplaceable, so that no matter what, the people are going to say, no, I want her on my shift, or no, I want her in my job. And I can't tell you how many times I've been offered positions of management in jobs that I did not want at all, because I showed up that way as a low man on the totem pole. I always say, I joke and say, I've never, no matter where I put my ladder, I can always climb the building, right? It's like, it's just a matter of where that ladder lands, and that's it. You go in thinking, okay, how can I make this better than I'm showing up for it? How can I make it easier for everybody to work with me? And Tommy will probably share a little bit more about his, so I'm not gonna let him talk about this question, but Peggy, what about you?
So I 100% agree with everything both of you just said, but I'm going to hit it from a different angle. And that is, you need to set boundaries and you need to respect yourself. I think loving yourself and respecting yourself is the quickest way to grow, because I, as some of you know, am quite a goal-driven. Like if I see it, like I just go. And sometimes I forget to eat. Sometimes I forget to sleep. Sometimes I forget I'm a mom, just little things like that. So I think it's important because a lot of people that are, driven like this, forget to take care of themselves and forget to set their own boundaries, because you are the best cashier in the world and they can't live without you. But they're not paying you more, and they're not, there comes a point when it's like, okay, you have to be business minded and strategic, that word that I can't
strategic.
Say. That word. in your in that, absolutely. I'm not one, I can't do a job halfway. Like if it's not the best, it's not, I'm not gonna put my name on it. Whether you paid me or didn't pay me, my product's not going to go out there with, half job. But you need to remember to set your boundaries and respect yourself, and not just, okay, what's going to make me a leader? You know, how am I going to climb this ladder? How am I going to climb this ladder while respecting myself and my morals and my own qualities that I want to take care of? So that's my 2 cents.
I love that 2 cents. That was a great 2 cents. I will take the 2 cents and have another 2 cents.
And I really would even say take it to heart as the females in the listening audience, because as is often in that, and I wish someone had maybe said that to me when I was younger, because I certainly burned the wicks at both ends to be that indispensable person. All the expenses were paid by me physically in the end, right? And so until health came and slapped me down and said, you're at the end of that rope, Missy. And that's a big deal, I think, for the person who's like, I got the answer. I can do it. I'll go do it. And you don't mind doing it because you're just wired to go do it. And then the next thing you know, you're laid up because you did it too much. So I appreciate that. And I think it was timely for me to hear, even today. So thank you.
Awesome.
Well, I'm talking to myself, and you personally know that I'm talking to myself. But yes, we all need to hear it. We all need to remember.
Okay, so with that, I want to get into our next segment, which is staying inspired. And the entrepreneur's journey for me is always the most important journey to share, because a lot of the times entrepreneurs feel alone in their plight, or they feel like, no, all of these people are successful and they didn't have to go through anything in order to get to that point. And that's just so not true. But today, to share out his entrepreneurial journey is Tommy, the man with the plan, Sommers. He is the owner of LogoZone Promotions. He is also a branding expert, a dynamic speaker with the next global virtual conference, and knows every word to rapper's delight, which I challenge you to have a meeting with him so he can give you those words in person. Tommy, can you please share with us how you became an entrepreneur and your journey?
Yes, thank you very much, Monica, for having me. And as she said, I am Tommy, the man with the plan, Sommers. I am the founder and CEO of LogoZone Promotions, where we bring your logo to life. I basically came about on this entrepreneurial journey. Like I said earlier, I didn't even know what an entrepreneur was. But what I knew was whatever I was going to do in life, I learned through my father and my mother to do it to the best of my ability, because you never knew who was watching. And if nobody was watching, God was always watching. And so literally I graduated high school and I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I didn't want to go to college. I don't know why, but I didn't. And I didn't want to go in the service, which my brother did, my sister did, God bless them. And so I thought I wanted to go to a broadcasting school. Believe it or not, I tried that. True story. I love the women. I've been married for 22 years, but another girl actually got me to quit the broadcasting school. So, but you know what? It was a blessing in disguise, because I never would have met my wife of today and my family, and I wouldn't have been on the journey I'm on, because from there I came home and took a job in window washing. Figured, is this really what I want to do? And from window washing, I moved over to sheet metal. If you know anything about sheet metal, I was working early hours, getting off at 2:30. But about a year and a half in, again, was this really what I wanted to do? And so I landed on printing. And when I got in printing, I was like, I love it. And so I literally started on the ground floor, started mixing ink, cutting paper, and even the other jobs I did to the best of my ability. I just knew it wasn't what I wanted. But when I got to printing, I was like, this is it. And so everything I did to the best I could. And I just started being promoted through the ranks. I went to pressman, and from pressman, I learned about the bindery, and there went into the plate room. And from there went into customer service. From there went into sales. And as I did this, I'm very proud of the fact when I was a pressman, I would have salesmen come back and say, I want Tommy to run my job. Why would they do that? Because they knew that I took pride in running my job. Now, I ran a press with no one around, a smaller press, just me. So, I could run, and something's bad, just stick it in the middle of the job and ship it up. Not me. Everything had to be perfect. And so it would go out and customers would love it. Other people who weren't happy with their job, we'd put out an inferior product, and we're rerunning it. Salesmen would literally ask me to run their jobs. So again, I always took pride in what I did. So from there, moved into the customer service and sales. And while we were doing that, I literally my entrepreneur journey has started. I started reading books and self-developing. And I guess about 10, 12 years ago, I just made a decision. I wanted to do something different. And so for 3 years, I just was in the business and I was like, how can I start my own in here? And I basically went out on a limb, got a license in July of 2012 and got laid off in August of 2012. So go figure. I got the license just to be a backup plan. Got laid off and it was great. I walked out of there jumping for joy. Problem was I didn't have any book of business. So about a year and a half later, I was struggling, couldn't make it. And I was like, what am I going to do? Because I love doing this. So I took a job in the grocery industry. Now, I had many offers in the printing industry, but I knew it would be a conflict of interest because this is what I wanted to do. I didn't want to work for someone else doing it. So I went in the grocery industry and I did the best I could do there. I was proud of what I did. I would be held to store scans. I'll tell you this really quickly again, being proud of what you do. I had to be held to store scans. And if I failed my store scan, I was a scanning coordinator for Harris Teeter, nationally known brand. They'll come in and scan the whole store, like on a Saturday, and you're embarrassed. Your store failed. I failed my very first one. But from there, my errors went all the way down to 0. I had 0 errors when I was let go, and I was let go because they tried to force me to work on Sundays. So let me rephrase that. I wasn't let go. I gave them a 2 weeks notice because you know what happened? I was working for 3 years for them while trying to run this business. And after 3 years with no appreciation, they said, now you got to work Sundays. I was like, hold on. When I was hired, I teach Sunday school and go to church. I told you I won't work Sundays. So the very next day I went home that night, said a prayer, went back in the next day with my 2 weeks notice and said, here you go. And that was my sign from God that it was time to do this. So what I did was I started driving Uber and Lyft in the weekends at night while I started doing this. And God blessed me with 1 year ago at the end of last week, I walked away from Uber and Lyft, and during the pandemic and COVID, I've been able to make it all through God's blessing, through being positive, through surrounding myself with the right people, following what I love to do so it's not work to me. And that is how I got to where I'm at today, being the owner and CEO of LogoZone Promotions, which is here to help all of you out there when it comes to your logo. So hopefully that kind of answered your question on how I got to be where I'm at. But I am so happy that I learned what I learned along the way, because I would not be here today. Hey, that was a rhyme for you too, right there. Gotcha.
I said, when you talked about being in broadcasting, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because every time I hear you, I'm like, if he is not a radio broadcaster, I don't know who is, but also, quite the energy producer and everything. And I love that you said that no matter along the way, you still showed up, no matter if the job fit or not, you still showed up all the way, the best you could possibly be. And I also love that you said that it was a blessing to be let go. Many times people feel like it's the end of the world. And I'm sure this year with the pandemic and a lot of people getting laid out, they thought that this was the end. This it. I don't know what I'm going to do now. And the reality is that was the calling card for you to actually step all the way into your purpose. And when you stepped out on faith, the ground met you where your foot landed. And so I love that story. Andrea, Peggy, tell me, what are your thoughts on Tommy's entrepreneurial journey?
Well, grit wins the day. In a nutshell, I mean, it's a testament to that persistence, consistency, and that deep belief inside of following what you love. I mean, that's amazing, Tommy. You're like, nope, you just showed up in excellence, persistently and consistently. And when that was challenged and or questioned, you said, okay, well, it's time for me to put my innate ability to be persistent and consistent someplace else. And so now we're lucky that you're here sitting with us. Hey,
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Like that, it's just, more people need to hear that, in terms of it really just takes that deep knowing, like I can do this thing. And like Peggy said, she was the one that came from a family of entrepreneurs, so that wasn't out of the realm of possibility. It was just what people did, right? And that little tidbit of your father's advice, those are words to live by. I mean, mm-hmm. It's just, and you figured the same thing out. So bravo. And
thank you.
Should have been in radio at some point, though. You got the voice for it, kiddo.
For sure.
I mean, for sure. I mean, definitely, as a lover of voices, It's a great voice for, it has a natural kind of like, let's go. Even if you're like talking mellow, I want to go. Like, I'm coming.
Yeah. My other career would have been sports announcing or radio broadcasting.
Yeah, you definitely have that quality to your voice. I can hear it. So
Well,
Thank you.
there's a lot of money in doing voiceover acting. I'm just saying, and you don't, use that voice for money. But yeah, I love how what I had just said in my other point was exactly what you did. You were like, you respected your boundaries, and you were like, no, I am the best that you have. But if you're not going to respect my boundaries, I respect myself enough to walk and find the next best thing. And it ends up being way better than, what it was before. And that's what I have always found in my life, no matter how scary the time looks. Like, I mean, there's been times where I thought, that's it. I'm a failure. Like I'm not going to keep this business afloat. It's going to go down the drain. And then, I'm literally, and then I see, or I could just turn and go this way. And, right there again, even higher than I was before. And I think that as humans, we like the comfort of where we're at, even if it's not where we want to be. It's still that safety net. And I think that's an important thing to do, is just like, don't get comfortable. And Tommy, think if you would have been like, oh, all right, I really like this job. I guess I have to give up my Sundays. And then you would start getting bitter. You would start hating your job.
Exactly.
It would start looking at you. And,
exactly.
So this was, exactly a very perfect example of what we were talking about.
Absolutely. Everything everyone is saying today has been like, amen. I'm in church today. This is great. Because you guys really are speaking to that point of how uber important it is to believe in yourself. And if I can kind of crystallize what we've talked about in the last segment, and what kind of Tommy has been a perfect example of, it's one, show up in excellence, because money follows excellence no matter what. And then two, make sure that you are hyper sure of who you are and where you're supposed to be in the world. And then just keep working towards that and chipping away at that. And the combination of the two of those will always serve you right. And I've had some work done by Tommy, and, he really went over and beyond every single solitary thing that we were, well, what about this? And what about that? He's like, I got you. I'm here. It's just really comforting. And so, sometimes you're like, oh yeah, this is a good person just because you've kind of been in contact with him. But in actually working with him, I saw everything he was saying in his words. He showed up in integrity in the way that he shows up in his words. And so I love it. So I do want to keep us networking and continuing the conversation about connectivity and all of this. And since I have you experts here in career, the topic that we talk about in MinkLife Motivation is the quote is, never do anything for money that you wouldn't do for free. And this is actually my own personal quote, and I know it's weird that I'm quoting myself. However, this came about for me because when I was younger, I realized when I was going through some financial issues, and one of my friends had suggested, well, why don't you just get a sugar daddy? I thought, well, if I wouldn't hang out with them for free, why would I ever hang out with someone just for money? It's not worth it. So this is where this came from, which is why I wanted to share it. But the question is, how can really people show up with using their talents, passions, and training? And why are these three things so important when it comes to really winning in the career game? Andrea?
Peggy should go first.
Oh, Peggy, go first.
Love to go first.
Yeah.
So, talent. What was the 3 points?
Talent, passion, training.
So, being a photographer, I hear this all the time. Oh, so-and-so has an eye. Oh, so-and-so has and I think, well, or so-and-so is just gifted. And I think, well, I had hand surgery several years ago, and my hand surgeon was very gifted. But if my hand surgeon didn't have training, I don't think I would have let him cut my body open. So why would you trust? And so, the talent is great. The passion is important, but without training, you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to be able to go where you should go. And I work with actors all the time, and I always say almost exactly what Monica said. If you wouldn't do this for free, don't do it, because it's a lot. It's a whole lot. And if you're only doing it because you want to be a star and you want to make money, you need to be doing something else, because you'll never be a star and you'll never make money, because you'll never get to that point unless you're passionate about it. Passion is the glue that keeps all the ups and downs together. It's the glue that keeps you moving forward. It's what you have to have. And if you're talented at it, that's just a bonus. Like, some people, you know, can achieve things because they've learned it. And some people are literally born with just that ability. And that ability just needs to be refined and tuned up and pointed in the right direction. So those are all very, very important points.
Lovely. Who wants to go next? Tommy?
Tom.
All right, we'll go next. Thank you. I would say definitely what you're talking about, and not only that, your passion can help you overcome bad deals or bad decisions or bad things that happen. Because if you're passionate about, and it's happened to me, firsthand experience. I've been, you know, took or bad deal here, or hey, I'm gonna pay that, and I'm on the hook or whatever it is. But my passion for what I'm doing allows me to overlook that and still see what I can bring to the table and all the other good that's out there. So if you don't have the passion, honestly, something like that can really wear on you. Be like, why am I doing this? It's just going to happen to me again and again. Then all the negativity sets in. So I believe a talent is something we all have. Some of us just don't know what it is, and sometimes it needs to be brought out of us. I think words of encouragement, words of positivity to people help them bring that out. Sometimes they don't even realize it. Some people know what their talent is. That's even better, because the training goes hand in hand with it. You can think of all the greats in the world today, anyone across any sport. They all had training or had a personal trainer, went through training. They didn't just go out there and just shoot basketball, play football all on their own, or sing or what. Even the singers, they have personal trainers. So, I mean, it's like training with your talent is all. And then if you have a passion, like we just talked about, those three together, you are unstoppable. So like TMWTP. So let's kick it back to you, Monica, because you're going to kick it over to Andrea. Let's go.
Like we said, Tommy, we're gonna get your radio show. We're gonna get
Yeah.
I just
Let's go.
like you.
I will say this. I will say this for everybody watching. It is never, and I repeat, never too late to follow your dreams.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's so true.
Cool.
So yeah. Now I'm gonna bring up the rear and just be like, let's what they said. No, that's Peggy's line usually. Whatever they said, yeah. Second that. So there's some great things you both brought out that really struck me as a parent, and I think that when people are like, I don't know what my passion is, I don't know what my talent is, because unfortunately there's a generation of children who, because of social media maybe, or just the reliance on it, where they're not feeding their creativity from themselves, they're just taking information and then saying, I'm going to copy that creativity, or I'm going to do more of what they're doing. There's a lot of, to me, there's a lack of origination, right? And so, of course, how can we expect them to have an idea about themselves, because they're always compare. It's so important, like Tommy said, if you're passionate about something, really dig into figuring out why you're passionate about it. Get curious about it, because that interest, just having interest and following them, not because somebody says, oh, this is the thing to do right now, a la Clubhouse, or well, Doro, sorry. I mean, am I there? Yes. But I'm just fascinated how everyone's flocking there, and like it's like, where are we going next? But that's a whole nother conversation for another day, because we will talk about it, won't we, Monica?
Yes, we will.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So that being said, really nurturing curiosity We have to do this for our children, to do it for ourselves. So the wellness, health and wellness coach in me is going to come out and say, get really curious about what you like to do. I am really struck by more and more when people come to me for help, they don't know what they like. They have no clear clue about what makes them want to wake up and sing and jump up and down and be happy because they've been so busy watching what everyone else has been doing, in my opinion, that they no longer remember to check in with themselves. So if you're feeling flat, and this goes back to that career move thing, and so many people are just really between COVID and the quarantine, the isolation, if you don't have a good, vivid internal monologue with yourself and like, hey, self, what do I like to do? I mean, it could be as simple as I like cooking, then cook for health or cook for curiosity's sake. It's so important to feed that curiosity so that your innate talents and passions will make themselves manifest to you. And then you can, just like Tommy said, go get trained in it. Go be the best. Go get a coach. Go get a voice teacher. Go get a baking coach. We all, if we think about it, when we do like something, we end up going to a class about it. That's called getting training. It's what it looks like when it's not for work.
Yep.
And even if it were for work, get curious about it. So I just say it's really important to nurture that innate curiosity you had. What would the 5-year-old you say
Mhm.
without the parent going, no, you can't do that? Or what did you love to do as a, I love when Monica tells you guys that she was a little international businesswoman at 6 years old, scribbling and making
That's
her
awesome.
post-its and things like that. Girlfriend's living
That's
her dream.
awesome.
It's
Yeah.
hilarious. Like she really brought that to fruition and brought that into life. Like, and that to me, I love that story. And if you guys think she's making it up, no, she's not making it
No.
up. She's not. And that curiosity probably has fueled her whole life. I mean, I love music, I love sound. It was not a surprise what I did, and now it's like I like fixing things, so that's what I do. I like solve puzzles. They're called how to make you work better, right? So it's funny, like we all have had things that we've loved to do, and I think you're seeing in this square of 4 people, people that have just turned it into something that's monetizable. They would have paid for. I would do it anyway. I was doing it anyway before I got trained to make it official, right? So stay curious, people. Just
So
lean into that.
on that note, uh, so I actually have a backwards way of thinking about talent, passion, and training. So um, you definitely want to find your passions, right? But your passions may not necessarily be the career that you're in, but there may be some element in the passion itself that is applicable to a career, right? So if you are passionate about talking, then you should definitely do a job that allows you to talk. If you are passionate about colors and coloring, or colors, or the combination of colors, or painting, or the color composition, then you should find a job that has an adjacent kind of ability for you to be able to do that. If you like organizing or Tetris or whatever it is you're passionate about, there is a job out there that allows you to basically gamify your payment by you playing in that space in a different format, right? So when you're looking at passions, sometimes people are like, well, I'm passionate about basketball, I should be a basketball player. No, you're 5'2". You're never going to be a professional basketball player. However, you could be a basketball coach, you could be a basketball analyst, you could be a basketball commentator, you could be a basketball trainer, you could go into sports in some way, right? So really kind of looking at it from the perspective of, this is my passion, I should surround myself with these elements. Training should actually, I know you're gonna say, most people tell you, well, find something you love to do and then train in it. I say, find what you don't like to do and then train in that, because that is the part of the gig that makes you a paid actor or a starving actor, that makes you a paid artist or a starving artist, that makes you a paid whatever or a starving whatever. It makes it a hobby or a business. So if you are great at taking photos, but you are horrible at accounting and business management, go to school for business, because you'll naturally learn the things about photography, because that's going to be fun for you. Like, oh my gosh, I got this new camera and I'm going to look at the manual and I'm going to read I'm going to look at all the YouTubes and all that stuff. the stuff that you're not good at is what you should actually go to school for, because that's the part you have to force yourself to learn. So I know that's kind of an aconventional knowledge, but I think that is actually super important. And then at that point, you will learn that you are more talented in different ways than you actually expected you were talented in. I am not necessarily talented in anything other than pulling everybody else's talents together, or streaming, taking this, that, and the other, putting it together and making it something, right? But when I look at myself as a natural talent at anything, I don't have a natural talent at anything, but it's the combination of all the things that I do that make me a talented person. So if you don't feel that you are naturally talented, then just by the act of being trained and following a passion, you can actually find where your true talent is. So that's my 2 cents. I know it's a little unorthodox in the way of thought processing, but I don't think I'm too far off. So try all of this and see how it works for you. So with that, we have to move on because we are running out of time rapidly. So I want to ask my guests to quickly give me your last piece of knowledge. Share one tip to calibrating your career. One tip to really kind of leaning into your career. We'll start with Tommy. One tip.
My one tip would be what I did my motivational live about today, and that is filling your subconscious with the proper things: positivity, energy, uplifting, and the people. So it's literally 10% is your conscious, does, what we know, 90% of your subconscious, which people don't realize. So fill your subconscious with where you want to go and what you want to be. That would be my tip. It's worked for me. It can work for you.
Okay. Peggy?
I'm going to say to respect yourself, and honor yourself. That's going to be my one tip.
Perfect. Andrea?
They did some juicy ones. Let's see. So feed your mind. Yep. Respect your boundaries. Calibrating your career. Stay curious about your excellence. Stay curious about staying excellent. That's going to be I'm on that tip today. I'm on that tip.
And I would say my one tip would be, because you guys stole all the good ones. So my one tip would be if follow your intuition. If it's not feeling right,
it ain't right.
Walk away.
Yep.
It ain't right. So follow your intuition, which could be the
right. Exactly. Intuition.
No.
Yeah. That was a good one.
I feel like we killed it on the one tip.
That one. Yeah. It's a good Monday.
Perfect. So with that, if you are interested in having your question answered, we're a new year, so we're looking for new batches of questions or answers. Please go to our website and submit your hot seat question. We would love to answer them for you right here live on the show. But with that, it is time for announcements. So I would like to start with our guest, Tommy. What is your announcement? What's happening in your world, and how can people connect with you?
So what's happening in my world is I am in the midst of setting up some online stores for people. So if you are looking to get an online store set up with some products to sell, and I'm looking for marketing directors or designers who partner with companies like myself to bring those end products to their end clients. I didn't mention, but I will say my top 3 things that LogoZone Promotions is based on is integrity, honesty, and trust. 3 things we will not deviate from. So we look to build your trust so we can put time back in your day and take the stress away. Reach out to TMWTP. You can reach me at 240-286-8255. 6935. And I've made 2021 a goal where I am available 24/7. Now, what that means is I do sleep, people, but you can text me or call that phone number anytime, 24/7. I will respond as soon as possible. And I can be reached also at Tommy, Tommy, at LogoZonePromotions.com. Let me make it about you. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, Tommy. Okay. And we have the lovely Peggy. How can people connect with you? What's happening in your world?
I'm everywhere. Everybody knows how to find me. I'm in the description. I'm Headshots by Peggy everywhere. I am excited because I this year have launched a couple of new branches of my business, and I officially shot my first commercial for a promotional piece.
Ooh.
So I am very excited. I mean, I've done a few for myself and, practice stuff, but this is for a real client. So it's a big time. And I've also started doing a lot of consultations because of Clubhouse, which Andrea loves. I'm talking to people all over the world and, not able to necessarily come visit me for headshots. So I am helping them, giving them the tools to know what to take to their photographer to get effective headshots. So it's fun that all these things that I, started are actually rolling now. So that's the excitement that's going on around here.
Lovely. Andrea?
Well, I have a new cleanse going live on the 18th of February. And so I have a new Getting Started webinar. There are a lot of different times a day to get started. So it's a bit.ly link, bit.ly get started _February 2021. That's me. And you can pick a time that suits your schedule between now and then to learn all about the cleanse and how to get started, because I want to help you make 2021 your best year yet. So come check us out, see how we do it. And Monica, you disappeared again.
Yeah, because every time it's time for me to talk, I disappear. But that's okay, because the slides will do the talking for me. So we have launched our new conference coming up, and it's Embody Change to Thrive. So excited about it. And what is happening with this is we will be in Los Angeles or Los Angeles time zones, April 24th and 25th from 9 to 4, or in Sydney, Australia, May 6th and 7th, Australian time zones from 9 to 4. And we are looking for speakers. So if you are interested in being on the platform and really getting your voice heard and being a part of the conversation that we craft about what is going to come next for ourselves, our community, our world, you do not want to miss an opportunity to do that with us. We are taking applications. So please check in with us. Also, we are having our Power Partner Mixer, not Thursday 6 p.m., but Thursday 6 a.m. But the calendar link will show you exactly what time it is, where you can meet our community of MinkLife Motivators. You can share a commercial about what's happening in your business, and you can learn and understand about how you can grow with MinkLife Motivation. There's so many ways that we are connecting you to the world, and we want to know how we can support you in that. And last but not least, we want you to try MinkLife Motivation for free. Now, if you have been hearing us have these conversations about branding and influence boosting or networking or business maximizer with maximizing your business and calibrating your life, and you're like, what are these people talking about? Well, guess what? We're giving you the opportunity to actually try it for free. So you're going to go to minklifemotivation.com/complimentary. Apparently my camera does not want me to be on stage, so it's fine. I'm just going to say my thank yous while I'm away. And I want to give a special thank you to Alana and for being our producer for this crazy ride that we have on Mondays. But thank you to my co-hosts, Andrea and Peggy, and our special guest, Tommy. Headshots by Peggy is, all the promotional shots. And remember, you have the power to activate the vision within. Sharing is caring. So don't forget to hit the share button. If someone could be benefiting from this information, you want to make sure you share. So hit the share button, share with all your friends, all your family. We love you. We are so excited to be here with you. Let's see if I can stay on long enough to say bye. Bye. See you next
Thank
time.
you. Thank you. Thank you.